Welcome back to the channel, and on this video I want to talk about online content creation. I want to talk about growing the sport that we love, and I want to talk about our governing body, World Rugby's, I would say, misguided approach to protecting its content, which has meant that throughout the Rugby World Cup, the biggest event in our calendar, we saw lots and lots of this everywhere you look online. Content being removed, and most notably and recently, Squidge Rugby's World Cup final video being taken down, which has received a lot of reaction as a result. And the reason I want to talk about this is because I think I can bring a bit of balance and the different perspectives together in a way that maybe no one else can. I might be the perfect person to talk about this because first and foremost, I am an online content creator in rugby union. Welcome to Eggchasers. This is my channel. It's been going since January, and I can't believe how well it's gone. And if I haven't already, I really hope that on this video, maybe I will earn your subscription. You can help grow the show, share the channel by just giving the video a thumbs up. It costs you nothing, but it really helps. So I'd love it if you did that. And get stuck in the comments. Tell me what you think on this topic, and I'll be down there with you shortly to get stuck in there as well. Also, as well as being an online content creator, I am one who has a copyright strike applied to their channel, and I can tell you about that in a minute because it's really frustrating. And also, I'm someone that has made original content that other people have taken without my permission and used and gained credit for, and I can talk about that because that's relevant here as well. I'm also someone, when we talk about this phrase, growing the game, I'm out there doing it. I care deeply about rugby being enjoyed by as many people as possible. And I do that not just here on this channel, not just on my podcast. I'm also out there. I coach 2 teams. Yesterday was mostly spent. I volunteer my time at Manchester Metropolitan University where I coach a team, and also at my local rugby club, Broughton Park in South Manchester, where I coach a team as well. So I'm out there and I'm doing it, rolling my sleeves up, getting stuck in. But I also can bring the perspective of someone that has empathy with the broadcasters, the people that spend massive amounts of money which fund our game to acquire rights for broadcast. Because 2015 up until earlier this year, I was working with BT Sport on their English Premiership rugby coverage and their Champions Cup, European Cup coverage as well. So I've got that perspective there. I've worked for TalkSport on the radio as well. So I kind of have a perspective on what's going on, and maybe I can shed some light on that. And when you put all of those things together, I think, yeah, I might be the perfect person to have a chat about this. So let me begin. And I'll start with, I mentioned I have a copyright strike applied on my channel. And it's really frustrating. Let me tell you about it. It concerns this video. I can't play you the video. I can't play you my own video of this Scotland rugby fan called Kenny that I found and I recorded on my phone, and I held the microphone to outside the Stade de France after Scotland lost to Ireland. So I put that video up on my channel. It's got 250,000 views, the second most viewed video on the channel. Did brilliantly. I was really proud of the interview. It's great. And yeah, go and have a look at it on the channel. I won't get a penny for it, but by all means, go and have a look. I won't get a penny for it because someone else is claiming that they own that video. People can do stuff like this. It's infuriating. And it takes forever to get that copyright strike removed. It may never be removed. I'm tied up in knots trying to get it sorted. I'm trying to get it sorted, but it's been over a month now. So we'll see how that goes. So that's a bit frustrating and takes the shine off what was an amazing interview. Really, really funny guy. It was so entertaining that it even got used on a comedy TV show in the UK that week, which I think speaks volumes. It also, and here's another perspective I can bring, it got taken and used by other people all across the internet. The fact is, you may recognise this guy. You may have seen this really, really Scottish bloke being very, very funny about Scotland's rugby match against Ireland. You may have seen it. And I bet you probably didn't see it here on this channel because it got taken and used on tons of channels all across the internet, on Facebook and on Instagram and on TikTok and on Twitter and on YouTube. And it racked up million upon million upon million of views, none of which I got the credit or the monetization for. Now, I'm not asking for anyone to get out a little tiny violin and start playing it for me, because here's my perspective on that, and it's interesting to see how it differs from the perspective that World Rugby take on such things, because my view on this video is I'm kind of glad that millions and millions of people saw it. I don't really mind that other people took it. I mind about the copyright strike because it means I can't even play a clip of it now for you, which is ridiculous. But I don't mind that people took it and used it, because here's my thought on that one. I'm really pleased that 250,000 people saw it on my channel, and it might have helped the channel grow. It might have got people saying, hey, have you seen this on Eggchasers? You should check this guy out. He does some good stuff. And I know that I got that one interview. I can go and get loads more of them. That's something that I can do, and I have done. And if you look in the channel, the fan content that I got from the Rugby World Cup, I think was better than any broadcaster and any official channel managed to get. I think I captured what it's like for rugby fans at the Rugby World Cup better than all of them. And that's a unique perspective that I can bring and add. And I'm really happy that I can do that, and I will go and do that again. I'm also really happy that millions and millions of people viewed it, and however that happened, I don't mind, because I think of it like this. This guy was hilarious. He showcases how fun rugby fans are, and so I want as many people as possible to see that. Why? Because that might mean someone who used to be a rugby fan and might think, oh, you know what, I'll go along and watch a game, it looks like good fun. Or people that know nothing about rugby might go, yeah, I want to find out a bit more about this rugby sport, it seems like a good laugh. That is great for me, because the more people are interested in rugby, the more people will come and check out the content here on Eggchasers. And the same goes for the content on other people's channels. And the same goes for people watching the Rugby World Cup, which is why World Rugby, I wish, would have that mindset of abundance, like there's plenty to go round, like it isn't a zero-sum game, and like we're all helping each other, rather than a mindset that they seem to have, and the broadcasters seem to have, of scarcity, where they need to shut everything else down and keep it all for themselves. I don't personally understand that, but there you go. So that's my perspective just as a content creator. And I was talking about the broadcasters there, and I think it is important to say that we couldn't do anything in rugby without the broadcasters. And I have worked for BT Sport, like I say, and Talk Sport on the radio. And here's a stat for you. 90% of all of the money that gets spent on rugby comes from TV broadcast deals. So it's not, and there's been a lot of chat on this whole topic and around Squidgy's video, just kind of, I don't think that fact has been recognised enough. These broadcasters, these rights holders are absolutely crucial. They are arguably, in commercial terms, the most important element of rugby. Without them, it all goes away tomorrow. It's gone. So you have to respect what they do. And as someone that's worked on rugby coverage on the telly, I can tell you, you have no idea the amount of manpower that it takes to make a live event happen. There is so many people and so much money gets spent to put a live event on. It is a mammoth undertaking. And I can also tell you that the margins at the minute for companies with advertising money and stuff are getting thinner and thinner and thinner. It's a tough, tough place out there. So you have to have a little bit of empathy for these companies that are saying, hold on, I've spent millions and millions of pounds on this. I want what I got, and I don't want other people to be getting it for free when I've spent loads and loads of money. I don't think they're right, because I don't think it's a zero-sum game, and I don't think me putting a video up or anyone else putting a video up, Squidge putting a video up, I don't think that detracts. I think it only helps. But you have to just you have to have a bit of empathy for where they're coming from. That said, the Rugby World Cup's been a massive commercial success. All I keep reading about is how the viewing figures are off the charts, the engagement online and on social media is bigger than ever, and that's fantastic. That's great news. I'm really pleased about that. What I would say to that is, what next? This would be my question. What now? Because the Rugby World Cup is finished now, and one of the realities, again, a perspective I can bring from working on BT Sport, and even my experiences doing content on this channel here on Eggchasers, the difference between international rugby interest and domestic rugby interest is so vast, it's actually quite incredible. The drop-off in interest is massive. Your average rugby fan, I know at my local rugby club, when I chat to people, they watch Six Nations rugby, they watch the Rugby World Cup, and that's about it. They don't engage with rugby at any other time. And so the Rugby World Cup's finished. So for those people here in England, rugby goes away from, the end of October to the end of January when the Six Nation returns? What happens in those 3 months? Because they're not all suddenly tuning in to watch domestic rugby. It's just not what's happening. It happens a little bit more in France. Top 14 is very successful. South Africa, New Zealand. But really, that's it. Well, I tell you what happens. In these 3 months, people like me here on Eggchasers, people like Squidge Rugby, all the other content creators, we can help because we are there. I'm making videos daily and I will continue to do so. So some of the momentum that we generated during the Rugby World Cup, online creators can carry that forward. So it would be brilliant if there was a sense of how can we help? There you go. Have all that content, see what you can do with it. The Rugby World Cup's finished now, so crack on. The fact that the Rugby World Cup finished and they're still taking down content of the Rugby World Cup seems to me a real backward mindset. I know that my time working at BT Sport, because the domestic league is so viewed so much less than international, BT Sport were like, yeah, anyone, do what you want, please, more. We want more of it, if that's at all possible. So I'd like to think that would be the mindset that rugby would have. The other question, the other point I would make, whilst it's been a massive commercial success, the Rugby World Cup just gone, I've said what next and how do you keep that momentum going. Also, what next 5, 10, 15, 20 years down the line? Because I mentioned I coach a couple of teams. One of those teams is my son's rugby team, and I can tell you from chatting to those lads, they don't watch whole rugby games. Even during the Rugby World Cup, very few of them would sit down and watch an entire rugby match, and they love their rugby. Because, and like it or loathe it, we have to accept that this is the reality. We're in an instant gratification, quick scroll, short attention span world right now. There's so many different forces pulling these young people in different directions, vying for their attention. It's harder than ever to get them to sit and watch a game of rugby. So any means by which they engage with our sport has got to be a good thing. And that's where online and social media platforms can really help, because if you don't go and meet these people where they are and in the type of content that they want, then slowly the age of the rugby audience is going to get older and older and older, and it will eventually kind of die and fritter away, except for a small core of people. And that's where supporting online content creators, trying to find ways to engage with people on platforms like here on YouTube, it's got to be the future. What I am encouraged by, at least, is that World Rugby appear to be changing their perspective on this. They are making noises about doing something similar to what they've done in the NBA and the NFL in America, where they actually collaborate with content creators proactively. And I hope that is the case and a sign of things to come. I think what happened, and again, I don't know this 100% myself, but I think what happened is that there was one broadcaster in particular, and I'm only going off what I've read and seen elsewhere, so I don't know this firsthand. Let me just be clear about that. But I believe, if what I've read is true, that it was TF1, the broadcaster in France, who spent a lot of money on the rights for a home World Cup, some 70 million quid apparently, or what I've read. And they have in their contract with World Rugby, or had, exclusivity of content. And that is something World Rugby shook hands on, as I understand it. I don't know if that's true. And something that was in the contract. And if that is the case, then you cannot blame the broadcaster for enforcing what they agreed. And I would put the onus on World Rugby to, in future, as I'm sure they will, try and get the buy-in of these broadcasters that that's not the way to go right now. And it's in everybody's interest if we can share and help each other. So we'll have to watch this space on that one. Or I'll just make one extra point, because I can bring a little bit of perspective here, or a different, just plant another seed and just put another thought in. So this is my most viewed video, even more than that Scottish fan that got 250,000. I think this one's about 300,000 views. And it was in the aftermath of South Africa battering New Zealand at Twickenham just before the Rugby World Cup. And then the video was my light-hearted take on the, I'd say, quite salty reaction from the pundits on the breakdown in New Zealand to that result. They didn't take it very well. Go and have a look at the video. It's in the channel right now. And I used content from the breakdown show in that video. And as a result, I turned the monetization of that video off. I haven't made one penny from those 300,000 views. And maybe that's because I have that perspective of having worked in broadcasting. That just seemed like the right thing to do. So that's what I did. I have been told since, by the way, by a bunch of people, you didn't need to do that, Tim, because you weren't just taking their show and plonking it on your channel. You were using clips of it to illustrate the commentary that you were making, which was unique, which I guess is what Squidge Rugby does. But I'd be interested to know, would that video of the Rugby World Cup final review have been taken down if Squidge had turned monetisation off? I don't know. I suspect World Rugby probably will have taken it down, but I'd be interested to know if that is the case. Was it the monetisation of it that was the issue, or was it only the use of the content, full stop? Yeah, I just thought I'd throw that one in. I'd be interested to know. Because like I say, that video of mine hasn't been taken down. No one at the breakdown seems to have an issue with it. And is that because they're just not as zealous as World Rugby are, or is that because I turned the monetisation button off? I don't know. All I'll say in summary is that this seems a really complicated issue, but it should be one that's really, really simple. We're all on the same team. To use a rugby analogy, we're all on the same team, and we're coming at this like rugby's a game for all shapes and sizes on the pitch. You got your little speedsters and you got your massive brutes, and there are lots of different ways that we can be on the same team helping to grow the sport of rugby, and we can do it in lots of different ways, and I'm trying to be part of that, and there's lots of people online who can be part of that, and it should complement. It's not a zero-sum game. If it were the case that World Rugby, all these broadcasters, were doing the kind of thing that I do, or that Squidge Rugby does, or that anyone does, then they might have an argument to say, well, hold on, we're already doing that, so we've paid for the rights, so that's ours, thank you, back off. You're taking meat off our plate. That's not what's happening. What you get on channels like this and on other online channels are complementary to what goes on the telly, to what the broadcasters are doing, to what World Rugby's up to. So I only hope that in the future they understand that we are all on the same team. You can help me grow this channel, and in turn help grow the sport that we love, just by giving the video a thumbs up. Costs you nothing, but it I don't know how it works, but it boosts the algorithm and helps spread the word. Get stuck in the comments. I'll be there with you in a minute to have a chat about this one. And if you haven't already, I would love it if you would subscribe to the channel. Thank you for watching. I'm Tim. This is Eggchasers. I'll see you on the next one.